Okay, now the stream should be live with me and not just a standby message. I looked at the recording on YouTube from the last stream because it auto records, and it sounded a bit, well, muted. It wasn't as loud as it looks when I'm recording and just watching it in VLC. So if you think the audio is too low, then please let me know. I haven't done anything with the audio levels since then because no one has complained. But if it's a bit low, I can turn it up. So yeah. Anyways, earlier today I got a bit bored, and I created a small project. Not this one. This has been around for quite a while now. Yeah, about a year, a bit more than a year it seems. So this is sort of my inspiration for this. It's called Edex UI, and it is I don't know what to call it. It's a it's sort of like a desktop environment, but it's not meant for daily use. It's meant to look cool and to look like what you see in movies when they are like hacking away and doing all the cool stuff. So here I found this is just someone else's video on YouTube. So it has this like animation when it starts up, and like, whoa, it looks cool. But the thing that I really liked about this, so I looked at this and I was like, well, what can we sort of take from this and do something useful with? So here we have oh yeah, that's where I first heard of it as well. So you have like just a terminal in the center here with some tabbing. I mean, we can do that most of our systems. This stuff you can pretty much do with what's it called, Conky and like programs like that. Rain meter for Windows, I think. This one I haven't seen, and I'm not entirely sure if this is just a random animation or if it actually pulls like GeoIP information from the stuff that you're contacting. But this, I kind of want to make this as well, just for fun. Like a traffic meter, that's fine. You can do that. You have a keyboard. But then I saw this part, and the interesting thing, if you look, yeah. So you see here, these files here are the same as these files here, right? So we have blob storage. It's this one. We have cookies. They're apparently different ordering. Right. He hasn't set his terminal to order files or folders first. This one does. But what you will notice is when he now clicked. So look now. When he clicks on cache, this goes into the cache folder. And this changes. And I thought that was kind of cool. Like he can navigate around his system by using this. That seems to have crapped out. Oh, he was looking at his disks, and apparently has 1 million disks. And it also works the other way around. So if he let's see if he does that at some point. Right there, he changed to a different terminal. Yada yada yada. Okay, it doesn't seem to actually ever do that. But basically, if he CDs into another directory, or if he runs a script that CDs him into another directory, this will also update. So this is just sort of a view into what your terminal or where your terminal is. And I thought that was kind of cool. And like, as I said, the rest of this stuff, I've seen that before. That's stuff you can do with other tools. But I've never seen this thing before. And I started thinking like, well, what kind of problem does that solve for us? And it's really, so it kind of solves the problem. So when you're looking for something, and you do the like cd ls, no, it's not here, I'm gonna go back up. What was here again? Maybe it's in this folder. Yeah, there we go. That's the thing I was looking for. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of tedious. I did at some point make a command, I think it was cl or something. Yeah, that does basically cd and ls at the same time. But I never really got used to using it. So that's why I created, and I mean, it's kind of just for fun as well. I created this thing. It's basically like this thing from Edex UI, just as a separate program that you can run. So if we do this, and so okay, before we start this, if I echo out window ID, this is the X11 window ID of this terminal, right? So if I start this TermFM with that idea, and let's just background that, this happens. So now you can see, it's actually printing out some extra stuff, some debug information. It's not supposed to do that. So here you can see this is the folder that I'm in, and if I now click on something, this changes to that folder. Let me just quickly remove this echo information here. Oh, right, it moved me. That is one thing which is kind of like when I'm debugging this, it's kind of hard. Like I keep forgetting that it actually moves my terminal around. Where are those echo messages? I might have removed them. Yeah, they're gone. Okay, so just rebuild. Right. So now you can see it doesn't write anything to the terminal. So if I go into the icons folder, you can see it runs cd into the icons folder. I can see the files that are in here. Also notice one nice little detail. It uses the colors from ls. So it actually reads the ls colors variable. It reads this thing, and outputs stuff in these colors defined here. So these are ANSI colors, and I actually wrote code to parse both the basic ones, the bright ones, the sort of extra set, the 256 color set, and also just RGB colors, which many terminals won't actually support. Because I wanted it to be like as close to the terminal as possible. And if I go back up, then as you saw, this thing also updates. So I shouldn't have taken a bite out of that. Clicking on these doesn't do anything. And as you can see, it's a bit limited with how much text it can show. And I haven't yet done colors or bold handling for so these are colored because they are executable, which is one of these early ones. Yeah, there's one. So 01 is bold and 32 is this blue color in my shell. So I haven't added that yet. Now it just adds by file extension. So .png is for some reason is purple color. And so the way this works, if we look in my settersage RC file, we can see here I have my prompt. So the prompt, for those who don't know, is this thing. It's the thing that it puts out in your terminal every time you run, like every time it updates this. So I have a couple of things in here, like the git branch stuff. This is the git status. That's the little check mark here. I have the branch that I'm on. So the check mark is just if I have uncommitted stuff. This is the command number. So you can see it didn't update when I just hit enter, but it updated when I did FG. This is so that I can do stuff like this. So this would run this command, which is just ls. But we also have in here, last error, that's just coloring. This is a bell character. So the bell character, if I just do something like this, when that timer goes out, now you can see I have a border. Maybe you didn't see that. It had a red border around it, and this down here lit up red. Basically, it's nice for like long running jobs. So if I do like Docker build this image or make in a large project, this will just make the terminal pop when it's done, so I don't miss it. But yeah, then so the thing I added today was this stored there. Simple little thing. It runs xprop on window ID, which you remember is the ID of the X11 window for the terminal. This is just a name that we give it, so custom folder. This is the type, which is a string of 8 characters per, or 8 bits per character, so a regular ASCII string. And then it just sets that to be the working directory. So every time my terminal outputs this message, it will look at the current working directory and it will set that as the as a property on the window. So if we look at the properties that is set for the window of this terminal, we can now see that we have this this custom folder string, which is the folder that we're currently in. It also sets a bunch of other stuff, like this is stuff set by my terminal. But yeah, so this is the important part. So what this program does is actually read. Oops, I already had that open. So yeah, it reads, or it has a property notify, which is registered on, not on this window, but on the original window. And this is why when we called it, I had to call it with a window ID. So here I called it with the window ID of this terminal, and that means this instance of this is connected to this terminal. So I could have a different terminal, like it won't update if I do anything in this one. Probably something there you shouldn't have seen. Yeah, so now we have window ID, pass that into the program. it registers a property notify event mask on it. Oh, let's see. Let's do this so we can actually see what's going on. So yeah, it registers the property notify, which is just an atom, or we check that it's the same atom as the folder. So atoms in X11 is just a way to not have to pass strings around. So basically we just tell X like, hey, could you generate an atom for this string? And it says, sure, here you have a number, and any number. And now we can just compare this atom against the atom that we got for the same string. So we don't have to do a bunch of string handling, which is very nice in C code. And it's also way faster for the protocol to send numbers instead of strings. So yeah, get the property. This is a method I wrote because getting properties in X11 is kind of meh. So this just gets the custom folder from the window. If it's different, we just update it. And we're using mlib again for this thing. So just say update the whole window. So that means that every time this shell moves to a different terminal, it will update this property on the window, and this program just looks for those events and updates. So that means that like it could literally do anything. Like it could go into any folder by any means. There's no limit on sort of what's like I didn't override CD, for example. I didn't add an alias for CD that communicates to it. It's just whatever folder I end up in, send it over. Oops, sorry. And this one, this program. So this is a bit of a hack. I would like to improve it, but I haven't found a good way of doing it. When I click on folders, so clicking on files does nothing. If I click on a folder, it just sends this CD, like it types it in with X2 tool. So for those who aren't familiar with this is basically a program to just do stuff like send clicks, get where the mouse is, put the mouse down, put a key down. So this is just sort of like an automation kind of deal for X11. So yeah, it's just using the type feature here. So X2 tool type, and it has some parameters. Yeah, window. Now we're just typing, just for the fun of it, typing into this terminal, same terminal. It also sets delay to 0. This doesn't really matter. And then it just writes some, like, yeah. So as you can see, this command typed this into this terminal. So it basically just types cd blah 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 into this folder. So if I do something like this, or if I have a long running job, and I click on something here, it will send the command, but it doesn't update because it only updates when the PS1 runs. So here you could see, now that the sleep was done, the way most shells does it is that these will then be executed afterwards. And that brought me out here. And as you can see, since this path is absolute, it didn't bring me like 3 steps out because I clicked the step out button. So yeah, that's sort of the main premise. And of course, like this supports scrolling Not, of course, it didn't in the beginning. Where is this project? It doesn't currently sort, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, so it also looks really weird on non-tiling window managers because it just requests a window size of 200. I do plan on making it like request the size of your terminal and to be sort of like below it or something like that, so that if you're not running a tiling window manager, it will still sort of make sense. And yeah, and of course, like this can be on a different monitor. They don't have to be like connected in any way, or they don't have to be next to each other. They're connected just through this. This program knows this window ID and reads out information and types stuff back in. So yeah, that's, and of course, yeah, just you can just kill it, close the window, anything. Like this terminal doesn't care. And because it takes a window ID, it doesn't actually have to be created by the same terminal. Let's see. There. Let's up the size in this terminal as well. So here you can see I echoed out the window ID of this terminal. So I can start. Let's do project TermFM. TermFM, and then just this window ID. So this instance is not connected to this terminal, it's connected to this terminal. So as you can see, when I click, it updates this thing. And the cool thing about that is that we can actually have this from like a keyboard shortcut, because we can do I think it's get active window. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's the right ID though. Yeah, it is. Okay. So yeah, you can see this X2 tool get active window returned the same ID as what the shell thinks its ID is, which means that this can be put in a keyboard shortcut or a a script or anything like that, and we can run TermFM just based on the output of this. So if we do something like this and do X2 tool get active window, and let's just sleep a little bit before we do that. And now I move, like now I'm over here in this terminal. It ran this command, and now we have the file manager, and it's connected to this terminal. So it's really easy, as you can see, to like, and of course when that terminal dies, the program also dies. That's not an issue if you run it from a keyboard shortcut. Then it will just die with your VM, or whatever, if you have a daemon for running shortcuts. But yeah, so you can run it like this. Of course, if you have a tiling window manager, you can also do something like this. Now my terminal has transparency, which looks a bit weird. Oh, sorry. But you can do stuff like this if you want to. Not sure why you would, but basically my point is it isn't as restricted as Edex UI is. So Edex UI is I think it's an Electron project. So it's like one program you start and it does all of this crazy stuff. But this TermFM that I wrote is just its own separate little program that you can do whatever you want with. And as I said, it supports colors from the same colors that LS supports. Currently, it only has sort of this style. These icons, as you can see, are in this folder. I do want to, like, if I want to turn this into a proper project, haven't quite decided if I want to do that yet. Then sort of my idea for this, I want to have different fonts, different icons. This is just the font that I use in my terminal, so it looks good for me. These icons are sort of, they're based on my icon theme. Like I didn't want to go full like file manager with this. Like I didn't want, so I can also just start my file manager from here. And it will also show me like this stuff. But I didn't quite want to go like all the way to this level of graphical fidelity. I mean, it could. There's nothing stopping it from doing this. And for those of you wondering, like, oh, but can't you just start this from your terminal? Well, no, because it doesn't do the whole bounce back thing. Let me switch this back to normal. That was there closer. Wait. Why does it now have a title bar? No. Oops, that was not right. Oh well, it has a title bar now. So as you can see, it just spits out a bunch of ugly information. It doesn't update with the program. So this is just sort of, they're different things. They're not solving the same problem. One thing I thought about, so if you look at the README, like my to-do, if like things that could be implemented, I'm not saying that I'm gonna make this a full program, but I kind of like it, so we might tinker with it a bit on stream, stuff like that. Scrolling, that's actually done. Options for fonts and icons. I want to support like changing the font and changing the icons. All of that is just hard coded at the moment. Various file type colors, that is also almost done. Like it does these colors, but it doesn't do like executables should be a different color. So I'm gonna check if the terminal is ready for input. That's what we saw earlier with the like sleep, and this isn't actually active. I'm not sure if it can be done, to be quite honest. I'm not sure if that's something that terminals support, or like if that's like maybe my terminal supports it, but maybe yours doesn't. So I'm not sure about that one. This one, sorry. Clear whatever is on the terminal input line before typing. So if I now type something and then do this, it will say, ls, what? Because I had already written this in my terminal. You can see like this didn't update because it didn't actually change anything. But yeah, so I was looking at ways like, could we issue like go to the beginning of the line and delete the line, like the commands for that, like that's something we could do. Different icons for different files. So yeah, it currently just supports colors. It would be nice like if these were images, or better yet, previews. I haven't looked into how file managers thus previews. So yeah, it might be easy, it might be hard to implement that. This one should be fairly easy, like just keep a bunch of icons, or actually support an icon theme to grab the icons for like the folders and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to show off here. It's a fun, oops, closed the wrong thing. That's, yeah. Wait, didn't I start that from that terminal? Oh, but I backgrounded it, right. Let's bring the font size back up here, and let's take me to this folder right here. Okay, so oops. So as you might imagine, it's a pretty small project, only like 250 lines, and most of that is like setting up mlib and window manager stuff, or Windows stuff. There are some more, like, oops, not that file. I wrote this to read your X resources file. It uses xrdb query, and then reads out all your colors. So the color schemas for whoops, why did that turn blue? That was weird. So if we look at this, it sort of defines, like, oh yeah, black is this color, and these, like, different colors have defined, or different programs have defined different default colors for the different sort of names. These can be set in your terminal through the X resources file, and this is basically just me getting them out of what you have defined as your colors. I of course also have this helper thing. So these are extra colors. These are the colors that you can, it's this color table. This is hard coded, so this isn't something that you can really update, I don't think. Maybe you can in some terminals, but they're sort of defined to be these, just to give you a bit more coloring. And then of course you have the full 24-bit format. So yeah, these are those colors. I also support the full like choose your own color thing if you have that in your terminal. And this just reads the ls colors environment variable, which should be the same across all your terminals. I guess we could take an option for that as well. And yeah, as you can see, it just reads all of these colors out into a result variable. So yeah, let's get to some coding, shall we? We have, so what I want to do is the make executables a different color. Gonna start with that. I'm not gonna be streaming for a long while today. I just sort of wanted to show you the project, do a little bit of programming, and it's already getting kind of late here. So yeah, what we do currently, so this is a template, this draw here. That's just a template that we call once, where we set the current, where we set our path to be ... and we draw the folder icon. We also, then we loop through all the directories in our current path, and we draw those with the folder icon and false. Then we do the same for files, but with the file icon and true. And this boolean is just isFile, because we want to do something different for files than for folders. Namely, we want to use a different colors for directories than we do for files. This will change a little bit because file or folders can be symlinks. Symlinks typically have a different color, so we want to support that as well, but we're not going to start with that. We're going to start with this. So this is how it reads. So colors, extensions, this is defined in here. That's just a table of strings to colors, and this just if it's not one of the known keywords and it starts with star dot, just add it to the extensions, strip out the star, so that it matches what we get from the split file. So split file gives you the path, it gives you the file name, and it gives you the extension. So right here we're getting out the extension. Yeah, colors file. Colors.file. So this is the default one for files. I'm actually not quite sure what precedence these take. So if I make one of these icons executable, okay, so the modes take precedence over file extension. Good to know. So yeah, let's see in nim how we can find if a file is executable. Let's see. You can use get file permissions. Others exec. Yeah, this looks promising. Get file permission. That is from the OS module, which I already have imported. So let me grab. Right, so color here is set to the extension. We are gonna grab the permissions as oh sorry, what was it again? Get file permissions for the name of the file, which is the full path. Path.get file permissions, and that returns a set of file permissions. So file permissions is an enum, user exec, write, read, group exec, group read others exec, right. So these are basically, so if you look here, we have user, group, and other. So as we can see here, all of them have the read flag set, and all of them have the executable set, but only user have the write bit set. So if I'm just in the same group as my user, which can I get my group in an easy way? Yeah, okay, I'm probably in the users group, amongst others. Oh yeah, it says here. Yeah, so users can read and execute this file, but they can't write to it. I'm the only one who's allowed to write to it. And same goes for others, so people who are not even in my group. But let's see what happens if we take away group executable permissions, or group and other, from this. So this is we're changing change modifiers, I don't know, group and others minus x. So if we now look at this, yeah, okay, it's still blue, even though these don't have this permission. What if we give it back to them, but we take it away from me and maybe group? Okay, so it's still blue. Now, oh, that was meant to be a minus. Right, yeah, so it's still blue. So if I can't execute it, like if I now try to run this, I can't, I get permission denied. If I'm even in the users group, I can't run this. I have to be logged in as someone else to be able to run this, which is a weird set of permissions. But yeah, so basically if anyone can execute it, it's supposed to be the executable color. So let's get executable if so we want to check if any of the FP user exec, group exec, or others exec. Okay, so file permission user exec, file permission group exec, or file permission others exec. Can we do in between sets? No. Because we can only test, like contains can only test for the value or a value. So we could have said like if FP user exec in permissions. So I don't want the sets module, I want these sets. A bit confusingly, nem has both sets and hash sets. So hash sets can take anything and you can run them with like you can put strings in them, you can put objects in them. Anything that you can hash works in a hash set. But these sets are bit sets. They can only take numbers under, I think it's under 16-bit int or a 32-bit int. So they're pretty small. So yeah, we want the I guess we want the union of our two sets. So the union, if you think of like Venn diagrams, if you look at Venn diagrams here, this looks good. I didn't use the names for them. Come on. Yeah. I want one that just put English labels on them. Yeah. Okay. Anyways. So this is the union. So that's both of them. This is the intersection, which is the overlap. This is the difference, which is the same as the union minus the intersection. This is everything not in A. This is A, and this is the intersection between A and everything not in B, so on and so forth. So what we want, I guess, is to check if the intersection of our two sets have a cardinality. So cardinality just means a number of number of elements in the set. So we want to check if the intersection between our sets have a cardinality of more than one, or one or higher. So you want to do intersection, and we want to check if the cardinality of this is greater or equal to, or just greater than 0. Basically, what we're saying here is that the intersection between this set of permissions that we're looking for, and all of the permissions that we got. If the intersection of those two sets is bigger than 0, then we are executable. And in that case, we want, so if executable, so this is now our else case. So if we are an executable, let's just wrap this. If we are an executable, then we are going to do colors executable. Let's just put this like this. That looks nice. So yeah, if we're executable, use the executables color. Otherwise, look for the extension. Let's run, or let's build this. And run it. Now you can see TermFM is this lovely blue color. So slight shortcoming. If I do this, now this is also executable. It hasn't updated here. If we go into a into a folder, whoa, that's not good. No such file or directory. File PNG. And this was from line 214. Ah, right. So the path that we got in this case why was I not? It says no such file or directory, but file.png is in this directory. Wait a second. Write out the full path here. Let's run the nimble command again. And let's run the, oh crap. Run this command. What? No. We need to go back out first. There. Yeah, so if you now click, so yeah, TermFM.nimble, it does this twice because of some weird, since it starts as a 200 pixel window, it gets an update when it i3 resizes it to this size. If you click here, it should crash again. So yeah, it writes, yeah, it did this in the terminal, and then it outputs this, which is a bit weird. Ah, right, because it hasn't. Oh. Right. So the reason, so path here is not the full path. Path is the relative path. And the relative path worked initially because we are in that current directory. So the current directory when we start this is the same as, yeah. So this will look relative to where we started, which obviously won't work. We change that to F, because F F is what we loop through here. This gives us full paths, and F is a bad name. I mean, I wrote this in a couple of hours. Just something I threw together for fun. Yeah, this should still work. Here we go. Click on icons. There we go. Much better. But yeah, so what I was saying was that it doesn't detect this kind of change. And the reason for that is because imlib doesn't get an update. And the reason it doesn't is that we check if it's a new path. So if we don't do this check, it will essentially run. It will essentially update our entire thing every time. Let's actually do that. So only change the current path. I mean, this doesn't matter because they're the same. Or like now it only updates when they're different, but it wouldn't matter setting them to the same. But offset, that is the scrolling, and we don't want to reset scrolling just because a program finished executing something. But now that we update the imlib rectangle, so this thing, every time we get an update to the property, and an update will be triggered on the property every time this message is printed. So if I change this now, it turns red or blue. So now it's sort of reacts live to stuff. I think that's nice. That also means that if I create a new file and delete a file, that will show. Like that wouldn't otherwise happen, because it would only update the visualization when we changed folders, but other commands can change the contents of the folder. So let's just do that every time. Okay. So now we have executables. What other stuff do we have? So let's look at ls colors. So for some reason, I've been having a hard time actually finding any information about these, like what the names for them are. I mean, I guess these makes sense. Normal, non-file name, file for a regular file, dir for directories, specify the color used for a symbolic link. Okay, so nym is link, I guess. Let's actually have a look in the OS module. Create hard link. Well, we don't want to create one. Create symlink. Symlink exists. Returns true if the symlink exists. Will return true regardless of whether the link points to a directory or a file. Yeah, that works for symlinks. It wouldn't work for hard links. Hard links are not very common in modern operating or in modern systems. So basically, how deep do you want to go into this? The file system in ext4, which is the default on most Linux distributions, are based on nodes. So a node can hold typically 4 kilobytes of data. That's your block size or node size. So for example, a node for directory will list the files in the directory, and you can go to those nodes, and those nodes will list the file name and sort of the beginning of the contents of the file. or like the blocks of data in the file. A symlink is basically just a special kind of file that just points to a folder, right? So not to a folder, it points to anything. Oh, someone spammed me on Twitch. Nice. I haven't the IRC thing isn't working because I updated Notifi Show without updating the script. So that doesn't work at the moment. I have to fix that before the next stream. So basically, yeah, a file or a node in your system can either point to a file, a directory, anything. It can also be a special file, which is a symlink, and that points to another node, which is your actual file or directory. But a hard link is just a copy of the same node, right? So it basically is the same file. Your file system doesn't really have a way of knowing that it is a hard link because it's just the same as the file. Both will look like, if I type into one and open another hard linked file, they will be the same, but the file system isn't able to tell that they're the same. And I just realized that's because they can't tell the difference. This color only applies to symbolic links. So this is perfect. There's some free knowledge for you there. So symlink exists, f. So basically, if f is a symlink, this will return true. And if symlink colors dot, I think it's just called symlink. No, I think I might have just called it link. I think so. NimLSP is still a bit weird for me, but it seems to have. So I rebuilt NimLSP, and like if I now change this, so you remember that before it didn't detect changes across files. So if I now do this, it detected that there was a change. So that seems to have been fixed by something. Not sure if that's just a new feature in NimSuggest that I hadn't built in, or if something in the NimLSP repository changed since the last time I built it. Who knows? So yeah, let's try to run this. Let's just create a file here, and let's create a symbolic link, and I can never remember the order. I think it might be like this. Nope, other way around. I can never remember. So now I will create a symlink called link that points to file. Perfect. As you can see, that is green, which is the same color that we use here. You will notice that the colors are slightly different. That is because this is transparent. If I turn off transparency, they should be more similar in color. They're actually not quite the same. I'm not sure why. It might just be like a different background or something. What happened there? How do I turn transparency back on? There we go. So yeah, that works. It now does links. So if I just remove this link and remove this file, there we go. can close this. Okay, what other funny things do we have? Oh, sorry again. Normal file directory link orphan specifies the color used for an orphan symbolic link, which points to a non-existing file. Right. Which means that, and it also said something interesting here. If this is unspecified, ls will use the link color instead, which means that we need to apply a little fix here to orphan, which should point to result.link. That will set it to the default, which was already foreground. Right. So basically, this should point to link if it's unspecified. Oh, that's an annoying thing. I'm not going to implement that right now. Basically, that means we need to track if orphan is set here. Or I could just leave it as the 0 color. So none of these support transparency. So if I just don't set orphan, then it will be the default color, which is a transparent black. And then we can check if orphan is equal to the default value for color. Then result.orphan should be equal to result.link. There we go. So that is if symlink exists. Let's see. Will return true regardless of whether the link points to a directory or a file. I assume that also means or nothing. File exists. Right, returns true if file name exists and is a regular file or a symlink. Directories, device names, name, pipes, and sockets returns false. So we should be able to do, if we are a symlink and if the file exists, then use colors.link, otherwise use colors.orphan. I'm actually not entirely sure if, so I'm not entirely sure if I have set that as a color. So now we created file. Let's create the same symlink that we did before. So now if you do this, you can see it better. Whoops. Link points to file. If I remove file, then link is red and has a gray background and is bold. We don't support bold or background colors yet. But that should be an orphan. So the code we have right now should work and color the link red. Oh. Interesting. So it's symlink. Oh no, right. Sorry. File exists and the color. Right. Okay, that is interesting. So walk files. obviously only returns files, not. So it only returned the symlink because it pointed to a file. Right. That's not good. Walk pattern, I guess, is what we want. We want everything that's not a directory. Is there a glob for directories that just matches? No, globs are only this stuff, right? Well, that's annoying. So basically, we want to walk the pattern. Another file or directory for link and get file permissions. Right. So yeah, basically when we are a file, which is the only time that this all happens, if file exists, actually not if, because we want the boolean. Oh crap, yeah, no, we want to do this. If file exists, get the file permissions, otherwise just return empty set. Empty set, the intersection there would always be 0. If the symlink exists, if the file exists, color it like this, otherwise color it like that. And I mean, we should only get stuff that actually exists, right? Oh, not file exits. File exists. Exists? Oh, right. Of course, I want to pass it something. So this should work. Yes, link is now red, but as you notice, icons and source are also here because we iterated twice with the same thing. So we need to check. We can only do this. Well, we can set the color, that's fine. But we should only do all of this stuff if here. Basically, we don't want to do any of this. So if is file and directory exists, it's probably just dir exists, right? Yeah. And the directory exists. This is always called from a loop, apart from the first one for the dot dot, and that is never called as a file, so this should be fine. Right, now we only have them once. This should match what we see here. We have icons, we have source, we have link, we have readme, we have TermFM and TermFM.nimble, which is lacking an E because it's too long. We don't show hidden files. That might also be something that we want to support in the future. So if I now touch the file, that creates that file. Perfect. Okay, so if you have been very keen-eyed, you will have noticed that I have another this loop that draws it. I have a copy basically of that. Up here, like a smaller version that tests for clicks, which now isn't the same as this because we check for file access, but that doesn't really matter because we only really call that on directories. And directories in our showing always comes first. So we're not too worried about that. Right, next one. Third link, orphan missing. Specify the color used for missing file. A non-existing file which nevertheless has a symbolic link pointing to it. Right, so that would be this thing. We never showed them, so we don't have to care about them. FIFO, used for FIFO, and named pipe. So named pipes, for those who don't know, is one of these guys. So as you can see, it's sort of yellowish brown and has a pipe character after it. Do we see those at all? Yes, I do. So this, it shows as a file because I only have one icon. Oops. So we do have file exists, which doesn't return true for pipes. Yeah, directories, device files, named pipes, and sockets return false. But we don't have anything that returns true when it's a pipe. I mean, we can do a when not file exists to get if it's one of those. But we need to differentiate between these. That is troublesome. You also have door. I'm not quite sure what a door is. Oh, it's a Solaris thing. Can Solaris doesn't have X, right? So we don't have to support Solaris. Block device special file, character device special file. Yeah, we already did this. Set user ID. Yes, we need to be able to get all of these at some point. But I think we're gonna call the stream there for today. Basically played around with a bit of coloring stuff. And I showed you my cool little program. And together we made it even cooler. Oh yeah, here you can also see that these are now executables. Nice. Click around and have the same output everywhere, same colors. Remarkable. Sorting is currently, I guess, based on the node numbers. So all nodes have IDs. So typically, it says here in walk file, for example. Okay, it doesn't say there. Somewhere it says for one of these it says like, it's not, oh yeah, produce this output, but not necessarily in this order. This is for the walk there. Basically what this means is that directories and files are not necessarily listed in the same order. Those are the order when not based on anything else is typically based on the node number, which is a sequential ID, or the semi-sequential, I guess it reuses them at some point. So this is basically pretty much, well, it's not the order I created them. Maybe it's in the order I updated them. Because I created this almost first, but this is last. But I did probably update the readme after I updated the Nimble file. So maybe it's update, like last update first. Anyways, I think that's gonna be it for me today. By the way, what do you guys think of the round face icon? I see it does clip my head a bit, and I've noticed that gesturing with my hands has to be a lot more in my face to be visible. I tend to gesture quite a lot. Like now I'm gesturing. You can't see it. So yeah, that was the project. Hope you liked it. You can check it out on GitHub. I'm gonna put the fixes, that updates there as well. So if you too want to have crazy edex inspired file manager for your what is GitHub down or something? Yeah, so if you want to have like edex inspired file manager thingy for your terminal, for some reason, you know where to find it. Anyways, that's it for today.